Moshi Moshi everyone, ArinTheUnreasonable here, and today we will be reviewing Gamblefish. Gamblefish is a manga series that would fit into the categories of mystery, ecchi, game, school, shonen, harem, and psychological. The story starts off introducing a character who is a bit different than most in the ecchi and harem type stories, as Tamu, the main character, is not a high school student, rather he is introduced to be a middle school student. Putting this aside, the story mainly goes that Tamu gets into a highly rated middle school and proceeds to challenge nearly everyone to gambling games. As the story goes on, we find that he is doing this in order to find his father and a family treasure that he lost at the same time. The main antagonist, Reiji Abandi, his name is very hard for me for some reason, seems to know where Tamu's father is, but tests the young man through a series of life-threatening gambling games because reasons. While the story is rather straightforward, it actually has many twists and turns that were fun to experience. The biggest part of the story, however, is explaining how the games worked. Near the end of the series, unfortunately, the games got so complex that even the translators were saying they had no idea how the games worked. This made it extremely hard to follow along, and by that time, the excitement of the games had worn out, and it made it feel stale, leaving me in a state where I could only shrug and say, I guess Tamu won. Overall, I give the story a 7. The art in this is something interesting. There is fan service nearly everywhere that doesn't always seem to fit in. Bondi doesn't seem to fit in either, as his art style is completely different from the rather old school style everyone else is in. He is drawn more like a Dragon Ball Z or villain, and it throws me off. I'm actually not the biggest fan of the old school drawing style either, as the two big eyes and far too realistic faces clash in a way that leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth. Also, Kazutoshi Yamane liked to put a lot of detail into the scenes that really did not need to have so much detail. It made it hard to focus on what was going on, and if anything was hidden for fun, I didn't want to take the time I would spend trying to figure out the scene and what was going on to find these hidden details. This being said, I give the art a 6. As this is a horror manga, there were a lot of female characters that got turned on to Tamu's side. They would show up to battle him, and then as the battle went on, they would describe their tragic past, or it would be revealed in a way that, besides simply telling. In the end, they would become his friend, and as he would help them deal with their past. They often felt like they were being copy and pasted with slight changes to their appearances and what the tragic past was. I grew tired of these new harem girls, but this is how harem mangas tend to go. This earns Gamblefish a solid 6. As previously stated, when the game started to get a little too complex and there were walls of text just trying to explain how the games were being played, the enjoyment of the manga seemed to leak away. As much as I enjoyed learning how the games were played at the start of the series, as the games grew to greater lengths, I was skipping nearly full chapters in order just to get to the action. This gave me less satisfaction when Tamu seemed to beat everyone, because I didn't understand what trick he had happened to use. Otherwise, it was rather enjoyable, earning it a 6. This manga was one of the first few mangas I had started long ago. I came back to it when it was finished and was rather disappointed. The start of the series had been strong, but as it went on, it just grew stale every time it repeated a story element, a new and more complex game, a new girl. It just became less and less special. It had plenty of time to develop the characters, but it decided that the butts and games were far more important than actually having an enjoyable side character to pair with Tamu. Speaking of Tamu, he was one of the main reasons I wanted to finish the series. Even with its stale plot, the way Tamu always seemed to outsmart the greatest foe was enjoyable, giving me enough reason to actually finish, even if I didn't really get how he was beating everyone. Still, if you enjoy a manga that has a lot of fan service and also makes you feel smart for understanding the games, if you can understand them, I would suggest giving Gamblefish a try. Overall, Gamblefish scores in at 6.25. That's about all there is to say on the series. This is ArinTheUnreasonable, and I hope you enjoy your stay. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and give it a big thumbs up. If not, no shame in giving it a downvote. I'll try and improve my next video. If you want to see more of my beautiful face, Be sure to subscribe for more content. Also, if you want to hear more of my rambling, you're welcome to start following my pages on Facebook, along with my Twitter, both of which have links in the description. If you wish to support the growth of this channel, the link to my Patreon is also in the description.